Welcome to Wasted Potential. Let's talk about Scalebound. Now, for those of you who may or may not remember, Scalebound was the new game coming from Platinum Games that looked really cool. It was shown off at an Xbox Microsoft conference in E3 back in the day, and it had a dude that looked like a weird, fucked up mix between Nero and DMC Dante running around with his big dragon friend, basically setting the environment on fire to some really piss poor frames per second. But regardless, it was early footage and it looked really hype, and then we got to see some more gameplay at a later date, and it was shown off that it was going to be a 4-player cooperative multiplayer experience on top of everything, where you and 3 other friends could get together and take on the entirety of the open world, going against all sorts of amazing baddies and monsters and picking up loot and what have you. So kind of like a sort of Monster Hunter equivalent in a sense. And it just got canceled out of nowhere back in the day. No one really knew why, but some interviews essentially done with Atsuhi Inaba and Hideki Kamiya showed that there was essentially some failings in the part of Microsoft, which weren't really talked about, but it seems like there was definitely a mistranslation of what exactly both sides wanted. And then Hideki Kamiya specifically went on to say that Platinum simply did not have the experience to create a game that they wanted to. This was easily one of the most expensive and craziest projects they had worked on, and it was affecting the mental health of everyone who was involved. Now, if you ask me, I think the real reason comes down to that nobody at Platinum wanted to create a live service title, and that's essentially what they were trying to work on with Scalebound, which is why Babylon's Fall ended up essentially coming out of it, and then that failed tremendously hard, was shut down after a year. And now you see Hideki Kamiya and an overwhelming majority of people who were at Platinum Games who fucked off over to the now newly made Clover Studio that are working on the Okami sequel alongside Capcom. So in my mind, I'm assuming, you know, a lot of people they'd like to go ahead and talk about Platinum as like, oh, being these high and mighty, like they can never do no wrong. But when you really look at like the Platinum catalog, there's a lot of fucking stinkers, like a lot of them. And I really don't think it's really the fault of the Platinum development team. More so that the higher-ups just wanted to make money after money after money, and they just kept failing because they are just, you know, they were a niche developer at the end of the day. So it seems like Microsoft still has ownership of the Scalebound IP. Whether or not they do something with it at a later date, I'll never know. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. For right now, stay tuned to the channel for any kind of other news and more updates on something called Wasted Potential, where we talk about canceled games and games that had a lot of potential that simply don't exist anymore. I love you guys, y'all. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for giving me the time of day. Y'all have a fantastic time. I'm out of here. Peace.